Hello friends, welcome to Technique. This is Nirmal here, and in this video we're going to do the detailed review of the iPhone SE 2020. So iPhone SE was announced in April this year, and this device was announced for the price of 42,500 in India. It's probably the cheapest iPhone ever launched in India. It can't be said as the cheapest phone, but then it's the cheapest iPhone ever launched in India at 42,500. Now the important things about this device is that it comes with the latest iOS 13 and it has the powerful Apple's A13 Bionic chipset, and it has a really good build quality, fit and finish. So how good is the iPhone SE 2020 at a price of 42,500? That's what we are going to do in this video. So we have been using the iPhone SE 2020 for quite some time now, and here are our detailed aspects of the iPhone SE 2020. Now first let's have a look at the design aspect. Now one of the important things about the iPhone SE 2020 is the form factor. So now if you look at the Android market in the sub 50k price segment, almost all devices are like 6.5 or 6.6 inches, making them really big in size. Now there aren't any compact form factors in the sub 50k price segment from Android. So that's where the iPhone SE 2020 takes the lead, because this is a really compact device. You can see that it fits perfectly well in one hand. So that's the important aspect. So people who are looking for compact phones in 2020, this is the answer. You get a really premium looking device in the 4.7 inches form factor. Now the disadvantage is that even though it has a very small display, you can see that large bezels on the top and the bottom, which doesn't look like a phone from 2020. Because if you look at the Android segment, you can see that most of the smartphones have gone for bezel-less design, or almost like very narrow bezels. But at this point you can see that you have a very large bezel on the top. The bottom section although has this Touch ID, but still most of the smartphones in the flagship category have moved to in-display fingerprint scanner and face unlock. So those things are not available on the iPhone SE 2020. So in terms of the design aspect, we feel this is a mixed one. If you're looking for compact form factor, definitely this device makes sense, but otherwise it's kind of outdated design in 2020. Now next is the build quality. So build quality is definitely top notch on this device. You can see it's an extremely slim form factor. It feels really nice. The glass finishing, the overall fit and finish, and the build quality looks really great, and it's a solid build in terms of the experience. So it gives a premium experience altogether. So we don't have any sort of issues in that aspect. Now next is the display. So this device comes with a Retina HD display with HDR enabled display, but now again this display has just an HD resolution, not even full HD. So at this price segment, if you look at the display, it's kind of again not the best experience you would get. But having said that, even though it's an HD display, it has a pretty good quality because it's a smaller form factor. Since you get a 4.7 inches display and an HD resolution, it isn't bad. But when you look at phones like OnePlus 8 or Xiaomi's Mi 10, you feel that the display is definitely not a great one. But having said that, you don't feel any sort of major issues. But again, you should be a person who actually likes smaller displays, because 4.7 inches display is not really a great experience, especially for watching movies and social media. So it's not a really great experience overall. Now moving to the software experience. So we all know that iPhones run on iOS, and this is no different. You get the latest iOS 13 on this device. So if you're a person who has used iOS, it's kind of no different experience. But then if you're moving from Android, you get a completely different experience. Some aspects are really good on iOS, for example the app integration, the smoothness of UI, no lags. But then some things are not really that great too on iOS. So it's a mixed bag for a person coming from Android. It may not be the best experience you expect from a smartphone, but then there are a few good things about iOS as well. Now one important thing is that the updates. Updates are rolled out to iOS devices on a regular basis, and you get updates for longer term. In fact, you get for like 3-4 years minimum, you get updates. So that's something which is really good, which you don't find on Android smartphone. So in a way, iOS is really good, but then if you're a person coming from Android, you don't get the kind of customization and flexibility on iOS. So that's a software aspect. Now moving on to the performance. So this is one area we don't have to say, because this is powered by the Apple's A13 Bionic chipset, which provides really a top of the line experience, superb experience on this device, no issues whatsoever, and the performance is really good. And even if you look at the gaming experience, it's really smooth graphic experience on the iPhone SE 2020. So games run really smooth on this device, especially games like Asphalt 9, PUBG Mobile. We have done a detailed gaming video and found the experience to be really great. But having said that, the experience of playing games on a smaller 4.7 inches display may not be really great. We have said that people who love smaller screens will definitely love the experience, but then people who are gamers, there is great gaming hardware available, but the experience isn't that great. So again, a mixed performance in terms of the gaming. Now overall, the performance of this device was really solid, no issues whatsoever, great experience, and iOS has been really optimized, as we all know, for the A13 Bionic chipset. Now talking about the fingerprint or the Touch ID, it works really fast. You can see that it is really flawless in terms of performance. There is no face unlock. That's something which you might miss coming from an Android smartphone, but again you have to live with the Touch ID. Now next is the SIM performance and the calling experience. Again, it was really superb. You get dual SIM card support in one in terms of the eSIM functionality. We have a single SIM card slot, but then you also get the eSIM functionality. Now this is offered in different storage variant. The base variant is 64GB. You can go with higher storage options as well. Now moving on to the camera. So this is one important aspect people look at when they buy a new smartphone, because it has a single camera setup when compared to the dual and triple and the quad camera setup we find on Android smartphones. So this is a 12 megapixel camera, and this has f1.8 aperture, and this is single camera setup, and on the front panel you get a 7 megapixel shooter as well. Now we have done a detailed camera review of this device and found the camera to be really capable one, especially the video recording. The 4K 60fps and 4K 30fps videos were really superb, and no competition in terms of the video experience at this price segment from Android smartphones. So if you are a person who loves to record a lot of videos, this is a really great device, especially in daylight conditions. It works really well. The daylight shots were also really good. The color reproduction was good. The portraits worked really well. Now one of the disappointing aspect of this camera is the low light experience. Without the proper night mode in place, the low light experience was kind of very much average, and for a flagship smartphone, at least for the price segment it is being offered, the lack of night mode is definitely a deal breaker for many in terms of the camera experience. Now the selfie experience was also pretty good on this device. Now moving on to the battery life. So the phone comes with an 1800 mAh capacity battery, slightly higher than 1800, and the battery performance isn't bad actually. If you're a normal user, we got around 4.5 to 5 hours of screen on time, which isn't bad for a flagship smartphone, and also kind of capacity it offers. So for that, it definitely is decent, but again not a stellar battery performance, but we felt that 4.5 to 5 hours with the kind of battery it offers isn't bad. So finally, summing up, how good is the iPhone SE 2020 at this price segment? That's 42,500. Should I buy it? Now if you're a person who is looking for a really premium experience with a smaller form factor, I repeat, a smaller form factor, then the iPhone SE 2020 is the best device you can buy, because it has Apple's A13 Bionic chipset, pretty good camera performance, solid experience with iOS 13. The displays are not bad but still not great. So overall, in terms of the smaller form factor experience, iPhone SE 2020 is probably the best device you can buy at this price segment. But now having said that, how does it fare against the Android counterparts like the OnePlus 8 or even the Mi 10 or even other smartphones in this price segment? That's where things change, because you get an HD display, even though it's a Retina display. The HD display at this price segment, also the larger bezels, those things doesn't really work well in 2020. Also the camera experience, when you get triple and quad cameras, the versatility of the camera is not that great on the iPhone SE 2020. You get a single camera and there is no night mode available. So those things combined, it's hard to recommend the iPhone SE 2020 for an Android user, because you get really better experience with other smartphones. Say for example OnePlus 8 or even OnePlus 70, the Realme X50 is there, you get Xiaomi's Mi 10. So those things have their own cons, but then those definitely offers hardware which are good for that price segment. So that was a detailed review of the iPhone SE 2020. It's a really stellar package, but it has its own cons as well. So that was a detailed review. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. Do hit that like button and also hit the red subscribe button for more videos. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in our next video. Have a great day.